So, I'm recording now.
Okay.
Hi Dee, thank you so much for tonight's seminar, and tell us a little bit about who you are and your company, please.
Hi, I'm Dee McCrory, and my company is Risk Taking for Success, and it's at www.risktakingforsuccess.com. And I've been in business for 12 years, and my focus in my business is working with thought leaders in the Fortune 500 companies and helping them to renovate and reinvent their organization and their workforce to become entrepreneurial doers, thinkers, and business leaders. So more of the middle tier of the organization.
Right, and tonight's session was entitled?
The session today was Risk Taking for Success, and it was 12 tips for personal and professional career growth.
And what do you think? Did you hear anything surprising from the exercises where we kind of brainstormed together? Was there anything new or different material that maybe you got out of tonight? As a presenter, sometimes you don't always get stuff new. You're called upon to deliver stuff.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say I was surprised by the number of women who really weren't leveraging social media. I was also surprised by the number of women who didn't trust their environment or the people they worked with. And another thing was the politics. Maybe I wasn't entirely surprised, but that was the interest in that surprised me a bit.
Really? Okay. I've worked for a couple of companies here in the Valley, and I've worked for big corporate companies in other places throughout the country as well, and they seem to be highly what I call political. You can't talk to somebody in another division unless you get permission from somebody else. And how do you suggest we handle those kind of a situation?
Again, it's about building your relationships. So relationship management, whether it's emotional intelligence, which is really about how well you can manage your relationships and how well do you reach out, how well can you influence, how well can you persuade people. But being able to reach across an organization, first of all, working for a company that required me to ask permission will probably not be a company I'd work at, but that's another story. However, if you know that is politically taboo to reach across an organization without going through this person, this person, so build relationships with that person, this person. So you wind up extending your reach. So, there's many different ways to navigate through the political landmines and to develop your own politically savvy. And your cachet is really what you bring to the table. It's who you are, as well as who you know, and how you leverage both.
Do you think that a strategy which I've employed is to be honest with everybody and help people because it's the right thing to do is sort of like being self-deprecating and shooting myself in the foot in a political environment? Or do you think, because sometimes it works for me, sometimes it doesn't. So,
you know what? That's another good question. And first of all, it's being authentic. If that's who you are,
right,
and that feels like the right thing to do, the risk is sometimes it may not work out. It just may not.
Right.
However, if at the end of the day you feel good about yourself for having helped people that way, it's a risk worth taking. Yeah, some things don't always work out too. There's going to be people, especially in this environment. What I'm noticing is there's just a lot of real, that fear can make people do some crazy things that they normally wouldn't do.
Yeah.
They're positioning themselves, they're the first to talk, they're the least to deliver, and they're the first to stab someone in the back. I mean, I would hate to see, but that's happening a lot. At the end of the day, you have to be able to kind of, step back and say, who am I as a person? How do I want? Doesn't mean you're not afraid to play hardball. You have to be able to identify these individuals too. And there's nothing wrong with calling them on their behavior. It's how you call them on their behavior. But it's calling people on their behavior, because I'm noticing a lot of people who are saying their ideas are being stolen, and somebody gets their idea over an informal cup of coffee, only to find out that informal cup of coffee, they go off and create a proposal, sell it to a manager, get funding, and they have a project. And that's happening a lot. So you know what? Call the person on it. Now guess what? There's that trust factor, right? They can't. Bottom line is, it was your original idea. They may not be able to execute to it anyway without getting you on board.
Right.
Lots of different ways. But
Bottom line, payback's a bitch.
yeah, bottom line it is. And you know what? I'm seeing it's coming full circle for some people, because they can't cross a bridge again.
Yeah.
When you burn a bridge, in this, first of all, the valley.
The valley is the most connected place I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Very small pool.
Oh, very
And
small.
you can't burn any bridges here.
That's right.
You'd think people would be less political and more gracious and giving and helpful in that kind of an environment, but somehow...
Well, it reminded me of the 1989 earthquake here. I was pleasantly surprised by how many people helped one another. It really was. People weren't just like that. They were stopping to help people with their cars or with whatever was in this environment. I'm seeing a lot of people get kind of mean. It's so fearful out there. But that kind of fear does not generate creativity. You'll never take the right risks, the right time, for the right reasons. You won't take responsible risk, and you will not innovate. You will not. You are blocking.
Yeah.
You are blocking. And at the end of the day, that's that's the biggest risk of all. That to me is the risky person in their entire career. They're burning bridges. People talk.
Oh yeah. Well, everybody knows everybody, and
that was social media.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? It's no longer 6 degrees of separation. It's like 2.
Yeah, or less.
Or less.
Yeah.
Like point. Yeah. I mean, people can just diss someone so quickly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it is a very small world.
It is very small, and the thing is that make the world your pool in a way so that when we talk about risk taking here, it's about your safety net. In this environment, it's very, very important to have a safety net. This organization's a safety net.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's true.
And the women are supporting one another. But it's about tapping the resources, and all of you are mentors for one another on different gaps, closing those gaps, and find out. One activity would be have everyone list what they're really good at, what's their expertise, and then
share it.
And then share it. Can you give 30 minutes to this person, and it's almost create a grid? Why not?
Right.
Why not?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dee. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else that you'd like to say about tonight?
I just thought the energy here was really good. I love the energy, and I love when people show up like they mean it. They showed up like they mean it. You all participated in the activities. You had fun with it. You'll probably go off and work on them a bit more, because I think other things are going to bubble up. But at the end of the day, success comes to those people who take a risk.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.